a tiny boat that sails on the Regent Sea.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Making Music podcast. I'm Becky Syson.
I'm Lauren South.
And today we are on episode 7 and we are talking about multiple streams of income and how we earn a living by being a musician and a creative. So we've got lots of streams and branches to this tree. Lauren, what would be your possible favourite source of income as a musician?
It's a really, really broad area if you want it to be. And we thought we'd do a podcast on this because it's something that we both do, but in different ways. It's a tricky one. I think still probably I do love the live work. So I love the gigs and the singing of my own material. I think, what about you?
Absolutely. I'm nodding my head here. It is still absolutely my favourite source of income. It might not be the most, the best source of income. Yes, that's the word. Because actually if we're going to talk about live performance, then live gigs and performing live as a source of income, this weekend that I've just finished, because we're recording this on a Monday, I've had different forms of gigs, covers gigs, which do pay quite well. And then I've had a lovely gig with you, haven't I?
Yeah.
And again, those ones, they're just not we're not kind of in it for the money, I guess, is what we're saying. It is, it's harder to get people to obviously buy tickets because money is a bit short for everybody. So if you have a covers gig where the pub and the brewery are essentially paying you, it's free for the people to come along, isn't it? So it is absolutely my favourite still, though. There's just something about it that money can't buy,
there's definitely something. No, so that would be top of my list. But I think if you speak to most live performers, certainly on our circuit, they do all, and this was something I didn't realize when I came into singing and songwriting. I just thought, right, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. But we live on quite a small island. It's a very small pond. And it is not the easiest thing to be doing all of the time anyway, because of the practicalities of it. So even though we all love doing it, live gigging all the time is relentless. You have to be in tip-top condition. Physically.
You have to have a voice.
And mentally you have to have all the backup at home to be able to travel and do all of that. So even if I really, really wanted to do it every day of the week, I just don't think it would be practical, actually.
The energy.
The energy. Plus then you kind of miss out on all the other layers that we were going to talk about today, because as much as we love writing our own stuff, there are so many other. I like the way you talk about it. You say branches on the music tree. To talk about, and actually, what's lovely about doing the music most of the time is that you are your own boss and you can weave into your week whatever you want to weave into it.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing to say that you can't do a broad spectrum of things. And the way I always see it is I'm doing all these other bits that I do really enjoy doing, and they're supporting the bit at the top.
Going out, singing your own stuff and doing your originals. That's absolutely correct, isn't it? And there's always something, I don't know, in all these other things that you love and you're sharing.
Absolutely.
And even the covers gigs, I still love them. I actually met a a chap from John, if you're listening, from Australia on
Hey, John.
Friday. And he was a musician, and his two daughters are also musical. And he said that the scene over there in Brisbane, he said, like, there's some people that are really kind of high on the food ladder of, music in the music world over there. And he says he still sees those guys going out, doing session work, performing live, doing covers. He said,
Yeah.
and he said, why are you still doing this? And they replied, because it's my bread and butter. And
Yeah.
isn't that true?
Yeah, and there are certain skills. I mean, something I feel really strongly about, and I know you do as well,
Mm.
is making sure that the younger generations are getting enough of the good stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And it's so difficult with the education system the way it is currently.
Yep.
Everything is squeezed and squeezed and then squeezed some more. As a prime example, my daughter's secondary school isn't able to run GCSE music for the second year in a row.
Oh my gosh.
They're just, I think people don't necessarily, well, they've never necessarily valued the arts as highly as we do, have they? But the problem is that, more and more it's getting squeezed out of the
Squeezed.
curriculum
It is. Yeah.
because of money and everything else. And so I feel really strongly that as in the tiny way, any tiny way I can, any small way,
Yeah.
if I can have an influence on
Inspire.
young people making music,
Absolutely.
that's something that I'd really like to see happen. So I know
Yeah.
you feel the same because you
Yeah.
do.
It's a gift, isn't it? And
Yeah.
it's a passion. And honestly, like I had another gig yesterday, which was at a pub, and there was it was a family friendly pub, so there was children there that were having meals and stuff, and you can just see children are really drawn to actual live music with a guitar, with real instruments. I'm not talking about backing tracks here.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody. If that's what you use, that's fine. But I do think there's something that is incredible about just pure live music. Children, they kind of zoom
Sure.
into it. And this little boy, he was 8, and he'd just got a drum kit for his birthday, and he was like, I can't wait to go back and play my drums now. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, isn't that
yeah.
sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There's a connection there with music that
Yeah.
that you don't get with anything else,
No.
really. So
No, and so that's I know a lot of musicians who, in whatever way they do it, they do share the love with,
share their knowledge or inspiration.
yeah, exactly, with the young people. So I mean, from my
Apologies, guys.
perspective,
It's all
oh
this
yeah, you've
gigging.
had a heavy gig weekend, haven't you,
It is.
as well?
I'm not ill or anything. It's just, I
No.
think it's just a busy weekend of singing lots.
Yeah,
It does take its toll,
yeah.
but yes, yeah. So
So I teach instrumental at
yeah,
home these days. So I've done lots of different kind of things teaching wise.
yeah,
And there's so much available now. And I think you don't necessarily have to have any formal teaching
no,
qualifications anymore. There are lots of places that work completely independently from schools, who will employ you on your own merit. So,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you still have to go through all the checks and
DBS and things.
BBS,
Yeah, yeah.
etc.
Hmm.
But if you're skilled at communicating and you can play your instrument or you can write your songs or whatever, and you can share that knowledge, there are ways in that way to
Yeah,
teaching
yeah,
as well as through schools.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
these
'cause
days, because of my family, I do a lot of teaching from right here at
yeah,
home.
yeah, which is great, isn't it? And like this tech as well, you obviously teach over Zoom as well, don't you?
I
Which
do,
is
yeah,
amazing
adults,
that
yeah.
you can do that in this day and age. So yeah, so teaching is definitely another form of income source. And you actually, although you do teach musically as well, you also teach songwriting, don't you, at a university? Is that
Yes,
right? Yeah. So
yeah,
that's another thing
Warwick.
you could think about. Yeah.
Warwick Arts Centre. And I think it's all to do with networking, isn't it? I
I
mean,
was,
you have lots
yeah.
of
How did you
contacts in the
find out?
nursery world,
Yeah.
in like preschool
Yeah.
and that kind of thing.
How did you come across the one at the university, Lauren? Just for people if they were
That
thinking
was
about.
through a lovely songwriting friend of mine who
Oh,
a
okay.
few years ago became musician in residence at the Arts Centre. And
Fantastic.
then it just went from there, really. Yeah.
Brilliant. So they
But I
asked
tend to
you.
find, yeah, they
Yeah.
ask me along. And then what
Amazing.
tends to happen with all these musical things is that everybody knows everybody else.
Yeah.
And then things kind of, you do one thing. So I had an engagement last week, like in a community really that I don't have anything to do with yet. And I played and I did some stuff, and actually I came away with quite a few contacts from that particular event
Yes. So it
that are
opens more doors.
more branches on the music tree.
Mm.
So there's, some writing that somebody would like me to do, which is
Yep.
wonderful and very exciting. There are some more community events that we were talking about, so it's a really nice thing to do. And if you have got an instrument, people really are curious and they do want to
They
know
are.
how to play and they
They
do
are.
want to know,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Even if you think they don't. And I mean, that's
yeah.
how I like to see it as well, is that almost everything you do, every time you go out to, whether it's a live performance, particularly a live performance, I think, because you're there, you're sharing your music and your personality, I suppose, and people meet you, and then inevitably you get chatting, just like I was chatting to John in Australia,
Yeah.
and so you don't know what doors you're going to open, do you? And I think
No.
that's a wonderful thing. So if you are just starting out, I would definitely recommend getting some business cards done, things like that, that you can
Yes.
just, I've always got them with me because you just don't know when you're going to
Yeah.
meet people and just
Yeah.
pass them on. And I mean, I do quite a few weddings as well.
I was just going to say, just going to mention your
Yes,
weddings. Yeah.
weddings are a great source of income because people, obviously it's their special day, they want it to be amazing, so you can charge slightly higher than a usual pub gig because you are committed to learning songs that they want. You might have to learn a song for them, their first dance, for their walk down the aisle. You may even have to write a piece of music for
Yeah.
them. So it's another level of professionalism, I guess. And that's something else that you can do. And a lot of those ones I've got by working through with, again, networking, I guess, working with wedding venues, going and asking, would they like me to come and perform at their open days? I do that, and then I get to meet, couples. They get to see what I can do, hear the vibe, and then they go away with my business card,
Yeah.
and we can
Sure.
see if I can fit them in. I mean, and that is amazing because weddings, that there's kind of nothing like it, because obviously it's such a celebration and
Yeah.
everybody is in such a moment. It's a special moment. It's a lovely thing to do. I love it. And often the venues themselves are stunning, so you
Yeah.
absorb all of
Yeah.
that as a musician. And you might have to travel, and I think that's the other thing you have to factor in, is your travel costs.
Yes.
But I mean, you've just got to try these things, learn as you go, and keep opening new doors,
And often what will happen with venues is that once you've done a wedding fair or whatever you've done, so I used to play in string ensembles at weddings, and what used
Yes.
to happen was that actually you'd then get quite a lot of regular, consistent work at that same venue if you're
Yeah.
lucky,
Yeah.
which is fantastic because then everybody knows where they are and they know you and they know what you do. And so that is really, really nice, I
Yeah.
think, to
That's a
get,
that's a
you
great one.
can sort of get, well, I mean, I know people who have residencies at cafe bars and
True.
residencies at clubs
Yeah.
and residencies at venues and
Yeah.
halls and things,
Yeah. That's a really good point. And actually, I know a lot of, I don't do this, but a lot of my music friends, they actually get paid to run open mic nights at venues as
Yes.
well. So that's almost like a
Yes.
residency, isn't it? So
It
there's,
is. Absolutely.
say it's, I mean, some of them can be very regular, once a week. Obviously, you just need to learn your sound tech a little bit for that kind of thing, and be
Yeah.
good at hosting. So there's so many different skills, but that's another
Yeah.
another string to the bow there. And even like since COVID times and lockdown, people do a lot of live streaming, don't they? They still do have
They
live stream.
do.
So that's another thing that you could possibly do.
Yeah. The live stream gigs do still happen.
Yep.
And they just mean that you can include people, and listening parties. I see quite a few
Yeah.
listening parties, and I like that idea.
Yeah.
And when you are launching new music, you can really connect with
People
your
all over the
audience
place.
that
Yeah.
way,
Yeah. So
as
that's another
well.
idea.
I'm talking about other things that you can do at home, like
Yeah.
from,
From
one
home. Yeah.
place. I've been looking into, I haven't actually gone and done it yet, but I've been looking into things like Patreon. I know
Yes.
I've spoken to you about this
Yes.
before, because several of my local contacts, who I really respect, and they're such talented songwriters, have a separate revenue stream that just kind of, these people can support you
Yeah.
at whatever tier they choose, and you're creating content that is sort of exclusive to them, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a bit more of a fan
A
club
membership
type.
subscription type. Yeah. Type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 But that's another way
Yeah.
of potentially getting, getting another branch on the music tree, isn't it?
Little streams, isn't it? Little streams, and obviously
Yeah,
recording music. If you record your music, you could sell them as digital downloads. You can sell CDs, vinyl, lots of different merchandise that you can do. I mean, I know we have been chatting quite recently about, do people still buy CDs in this streaming world? It's changed a lot
yeah,
since when I first started out, and there was no digital streaming. It was just people bought your CDs.
yeah.
You could guarantee it. Whereas it's a very different world now, but you still do get people that still want to, like you were saying about the Patreon, they want to support you, and they
Yeah,
really want something physical, or they might just take it as a digital download. But there's that you can do as well.
and I think a lot
yeah.
of, oh, sorry, go
No,
on.
no. I was just going to say, and obviously, I know these streaming platforms do get a bad name, but you do get a tiny, teeny, tiny bit of revenue coming in. Teeny.
But it's worthwhile.
But it's there. It's
Swings
there.
and
It all adds
roundabouts
up.
as to whether you're on there or not. We won't go down that
We're not
track
going down
right
that
now.
rabbit hole today.
No.
No. Sorry,
But
Lauren. What were
I
you
was
going
going
to
to
say?
say, the other thing was that most musicians are creatives in general.
Yes.
And so, you can always turn your hand to making your own merch, because so many people do it, and it's lovely.
Yes, it is. It is. I know. I've seen some
That's a
people
really nice
create
thing.
amazing things.
Yeah.
And so there's that. But also going back to the royalties. Now, if you are a musician that writes your own music, we would really encourage you to join the PRS, the Performers' Rights Society, because once you have paid your membership, that's it. It's a one-off payment, and you have to upload your songs, and then you upload your set lists. Every time you perform live, you are due royalties for that, because the music venues, they pay a license fee to the PRS, and then that gets distributed to all us little musicians. And my God, does it add up sometimes. So I would really, really recommend that you do that. If you're gigging a lot, do that, please, because I'm always on Lauren's case.
This is original music.
Original music, yes, yeah. But
I
if
do
you
it.
are,
I'm
yeah,
save it up till I've got loads to do, whereas I should
Yeah.
just do it a little bit more often.
Yeah. Maybe
But yeah, this is original music we're talking about.
original music. Yeah. If you write your own music, you should definitely
Yeah.
and perform live a lot. It's nice to know
Mm,
because at the end of the day, like I say, these people, these festivals, these live music venues, they are paying a fee to the PRS, and that should get distributed to all the people out there singing their own songs. So yeah,
absolutely.
don't forget to do that.
Absolutely. And then the other thing I was going to say is we're just
Mm,
talking about different income streams.
mm.
Is there are so many people who turn their hand to being a session musician. So
Yes,
they'll
they
actually
do.
advertise for being able to play on other people's albums
Yeah,
or other people's gigs or whatever,
yeah,
because we all have our own unique skill set.
yeah,
And some recording studios actually, they have well, actually most, they'll have a bank of people
yeah.
they
They
can
do.
call on.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
And that's really nice
Mm.
because, again, it's kind of like a little bit like a residency kind of idea,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Sorry, I keep rocking the
You
boat here.
know, but I think the other thing to say about the different revenue streams of the live stuff is that the more places you play,
Mm.
the the broader your scope becomes. So
Absolutely.
you can,
Yeah, totally.
it's not actually that often that I'll play somewhere and that is it. That's the end of the road. You always meet new people when you're out and about,
You
don't you?
do. You do. Yeah, building those connections.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think what's really important is that obviously you can't rely on those and you can't rely on the frequency of them.
No,
So what's good is to build the kind of the base of the pyramid, like you
yeah.
were saying, like the bread and butter,
Have the
the
bread and
things
butter.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah, the things
even
that can be consistent.
definitely, because even those, I mean, like I was saying, I've had a very busy weekend just gone, but next weekend is not as busy. So you have got to work at these things, build
Yeah.
those networkings, keep asking, and obviously new venues pop up all the time, and sadly some venues close. So you've got to keep going. You've got to keep you know, your foot on the ball. Is that the I'm terrible with
Eye
your
on
foot
the
on the gas,
eye
eye
on
on
the
the ball,
ball. Foot on,
foot on the
yes.
gas. You'll learn this about me,
Yeah.
guys. I always get them sayings mixed up somehow. Don't know how, but but yeah, keep going and keep building because yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they come and they go, and you've just got to keep those bread and butter coming through. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, the other thing we didn't cover like is like littlies like you said. I
Hmm.
do a lot of preschools, children's music. When I had my first son, I loved going to the library, and they used to have sort of music for the children, and I thought, oh, I could totally do this. So then I set up my own Becky Bops, which is music and movement, which is, I have lots of parachutes and shaky eggs and bubbles, and we have the best time. And I'm still doing it now, and he's like, a teenager now, so I get to
Yeah.
go and inspire like these littlies, and they're just. I often say to you, don't I, when I've come away, I'm like, oh, I've just had a lovely session with the littlies, and you're like, oh,
Mm.
because it's something that I
Yeah.
always want to keep doing. Sometimes we think there's only one path. There really isn't with music. I think to be able to earn a living, you have got to have all these different branches. And sometimes you don't know what they're going to be until, like you say, Lauren, you meet somebody at a
Yes.
gig, or yeah, your life changes and you're like, oh, children's music. Yeah,
Mm.
I could do this. Um, and another thing I've recently gone into is meditation music. And
Yeah.
that's through going to festivals and just being like, oh right, yes, I could go down this avenue because I've always loved meditation and
Yeah.
yoga and that kind of relaxing music and just I'm going more and more down that pathway at the moment and trying to build
And I
build
think
that. So this it's
what's really nice
wow.
about that is that you're using what you're good at doing. So you're playing to your
Yeah.
strengths
Yes.
and also your
Good point.
interests. So,
Yes.
not everybody is going to want to
No.
teach. And
No.
I know lots of musicians who are like, no, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's completely fair enough. But I
Yeah.
mean, you saying about festivals, I
Yes.
started a couple of years ago
Oh, of course.
taking
Yes.
a
The
set of
fiddles.
violins to
Yes.
festivals, doing fiddle workshops.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been a violinist since I was tinsy wincy. But this is something, and I'd always taught groups, but the whole teaching from scratch thing
Yeah.
has been a really new string to my bow, pardon the pun. And that has doing those has opened doors for more community work, which
Yeah.
I've discovered I actually love doing.
Yes.
And so yeah, I think it's really important to try and think to yourself, well, okay, what am I good at? What am I
Yes.
good at doing?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that sounds really obvious, but sometimes we
Sometimes
can
the
only
obvious
think,
things are the hardest things to remember, aren't they? And that's a really good point. Yeah. So really like think about what you are good at doing, because some people
yeah,
are just better with people, aren't they? Other musicians are very
yeah.
not people
Like I know
people, and that's
one
fine. you
particular
know.
musician who is just really good with people, and they go into care homes
Yes.
every week.
That's
And they don't
yeah.
do anything like the music that they're doing live.
Yeah.
This person is a really great performer, songwriter, everything else, but they go in and they do completely different music in a
Yeah.
completely different way. But it's also really nice to have things like that you can do during the daytime, because we've spoken before about how
Absolutely.
antisocial
Yes.
potentially the
Yes.
hours are for, evening gigs and things,
Especially for
especially if you've
us,
got families.
if you've got a family, you
Yeah.
know, doing something in the school time, when the kids are at school and you've got that little window, it is really good to be able to do something at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, music. And I know somebody actually that works in hospitals, a bit similar to the care homes, and goes in and yeah,
Same thing.
it's it's amazing. I think music and creativity, because of the nature of them, there's so many different things that you can get into. You just sometimes don't know that path at the point. You kind of find your way, don't you? And I think
Mm.
all of these musicians, they probably didn't start out by thinking, oh, I'm going to do music in hospital. They probably were like us. I'm writing, I'm
Mm.
singing, I'm performing, and then they've realised that the impact that they can have on people
Yeah.
is amazing. The feedback that they get from places like hospitals, it just lifts patient spirits, and that is something
Mm.
that music is so magical at doing. All these different ages, from babies through to older people, it really
Mm.
touches them. So you've got so many doors that you could open. You've
Yeah.
just got to kind of keep thinking creatively and think out of the
Yes.
box, and
Yes. But I
that's the
think the other
thing.
thing that's worth saying is that
Mm,
the majority of musicians, certainly in the writing and performing
yeah,
areas, will have another
job,
day job
basically. Yeah,
of
yeah,
some description at the same time. I
absolutely.
think a lot of people think that that you can literally
Yeah,
do all of it all the time. And actually that's not possible. And actually that's nothing to be worried about.
no,
I
it's
know
quite
so
normal.
many people who are absolutely amazing at what they do and they still work down Tesco's,
Yeah, yeah.
a few
And
hours
there's
a week.
there's no harm in that, is there? There's absolutely
Yeah,
no
no,
harm in that.
absolutely not, because it's from experience, if you're not relying fully
Mm.
on something that can be a little precarious at times and a little bit unpredictable,
Absolutely.
you end up enjoying it more and being
Yeah,
happier and more settled
yeah.
when you
Because
are
yeah,
performing.
yeah. Because you've got that security. We at the end of the day, we've all got bills to pay. We've all got responsibilities,
Exactly.
and I mean, COVID times, that was a prime example when you couldn't gig live. My music and movement sessions had to stop. There were so many things
Yeah.
that had to stop, and suddenly you're like, oh no, so
Yeah.
it's, yeah, you've got to have these multiple streams, and think out of the box to do it. But it is really rewarding being your own boss, isn't it? I love it.
Oh, it's fantastic. It is fantastic. I
I
wouldn't
love
change
it.
it.
No, absolutely not. And so if there's anybody else that has any other things that they do, please write it in the comments. I'd love to know. I'm always like thinking of different ideas. I know some people are like, so what is it that you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a musician and I do this kids music and I do weddings and I do this. And they're like, wow, how do you do all that? It's like, well, it is a bit of a juggling act, but again, like Lauren, I wouldn't change it for the world because it keeps every day
No,
interesting.
really does. Really does.
Yeah. Is there anything else you can think of, like streaming wise or like income streams? I'm trying to think. I think
I
we've
think
covered
that's
it
basically
all,
what
haven't
we
we?
do, isn't it? Which is what we were going to talk about, was what
Yeah.
we do. But we know our weeks look quite different, don't they,
Yes. Yes, they do.
from each
They do.
other?
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, you have to fit
Doing
in
you.
with,
Yeah.
you're doing you, yes,
Yeah.
exactly, and you're fitting in with everything else around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We
So
would like to hear if you've got any
I really
other
would. Yeah. Any other ideas? Yeah. Toss them our way.
branches to the music stream.
Yeah. But thank you ever so much for listening. We've really enjoyed having a chat about these things. And yeah, we'll see you next month. All right.
See you on the next one.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Cause as we wake, the moment's gone. With the rising of the sun,